Võimla Strength Plus Gym Estonia, Tartu Fight Sport Gym. First of all, I want to thank you all for your kind words on my previous video. If you haven't looked up, look at the previous video before you're looking at this one. This is like an add-on. I'm going to address the north-south choke in relation to the Science of Strangles theory, because it was also requested in the comments, and yeah, I'll give my take on that. Okay, the north and south choke, or north and south strangle, it's somewhat of an opportunistic attack or choke. It needs to be in sequence with other chokes and other attacks, but today I'm only going to address the mechanics of the strangle here. The main thing is that for the technique to work, I need to get my choking arm in place at first and get it in place good. So I need to be able to think about which part I get to the strangling point here on the carotid sinus area. I know there's been some interesting discussions in Reddit regarding on how the choke mechanics work exactly, and I will follow it up, but for now let's stick with that. So I want pressure to the carotid sinus area on my far side, and for that I wrap the head with my arm. So the choking part of my arm is usually my biceps here. So let's say I'm in side control, maybe I'm holding the hip here, my arm is already over. This is like the most common variation. And now I need to get my arm under his head. So I can just stick it like this, but it's usually not the best way because he can keep his head on the ground and it can be somewhat tough. So what I do is that I go in a circle here. I go in a circle, I like wrap and then kind of bring my blade, the blade of my arm under his head. So that's what I usually do, is that I go in a circle and I wrap the head, and now I do two things. I immediately try to tighten my biceps against his neck here, and I drop my rib cage onto the side of his head here. So for the choke to work, his nose basically needs to be either pointed at the ceiling or at any angle away from me. So in that case, the choke will work straight away. So I wrap my arm around here, I drop my rib cage here, and now I'm pretty much set. Now I just need to feel how my biceps is connecting to the area between the bone here and the muscle here. So I want my biceps in this area. Right now it's pretty much set, and now I move backwards. I move backwards while moving his head with my rib cage. I move backwards, nice wide base so I don't get bridged. And now I drop my head and I clasp my hands with palm down, with my choking arms, palm is always down. Here, I move back as far as I can. I move back as far as I can. And now I tilt my shoulder forward, and I kind of, a little bit, I drop down even more, and I push with the rib cage into my biceps. I push his neck into my biceps here, and flex my biceps a little bit. And I get the tap. Always, I keep the palm of the arm that's doing the strangle down. That's because this way, if I flex my biceps, it's pretty much uniform here. If I turn my palm up, my biceps moves upwards, and that exactly leaves a little bit space here for the strangle not to work. So I need to keep my palm down always, so the biceps area here can drop into the area between the trachea and the large neck muscles here. And yeah, I slide down, and then I kind of try to get the feel for the biceps here. I push down with the biceps, flex my biceps, and with a rib cage, push into here. So I get the maximum opposing forces downward like this, and a little bit up with my rib cage. Most common counters here to address is that first of all, I really need to move and feel where my biceps is, so I would get it into as accurately as possible into this area. And then usually what happens is sometimes their head is tilted the wrong way here. They use this defense, maybe even bring the head to the shoulder here, which is a good defense for the north and south choke. In that case, I just need to angle my rib cage in between the shoulder and the jaw here and tilt the head the other way. Let me demonstrate. So I get the arm under, but the head is tilted the wrong way. The head is tilted the wrong way. Now I drop my rib cage onto his jaw, and I kind of sit and wait and move here, so I can get at least an inch of space in between his shoulder and his jaw. Right now his jaw is nicely in my ribs, so there is a little bit space between his shoulder and his jaw. And now I can move his head like this. I move his head like this. My head needs to be down. I'm just keeping it up to be able to speak right now. And then again I do the same thing. I clear the arms. I drop down, really slow, palm up, palm down, drop, drop, drop down. Now my shoulder forward a little bit and rib cage into the biceps. And I get the tap. The other most common defense for the north and south choke is that he starts to frame my head. Starts to frame my head upwards here. No problem. I let him do that and I push the arm away and drop my head. And now it's like a little bit akin to the side choke. Again, biceps and move in. So some people like to teach it this way, so you only slide down. This works as well if I can drop my biceps and maybe even deltoid here. And if my lat is excellently on the other side, then I can move down and compress on this side. But I find that it's very useful to think about having the biceps connected to the area where the pressure is most effective and walk my rib cage into said area. That's what, in my opinion, makes the north and south strangle the most efficient one.